I'm Chloe Tang, and this is Behind the Lyrics of POISONALITY. The songs of POISONALITY are 2.0, Options, Primal, I See You, and LSD. The time that I wrote the songs that are in POISONALITY, I was really discovering and embracing my true personality. The poison part is, it was as if I had taken poison and it just killed off all the parts of me that I had just adopted from my surroundings and that weren't really actually me. It includes a darker side of me that I just never knew existed before moving to LA.
Like the old me, but I killed that hoe. Leave a couple roses on a tombstone.
I think starting off with 2.0 is so strong, and it also is the most, I think, obviously tied to POISONALITY, like thematically. We are kind of like, okay, that one's like a safe bet to go first. Just, start strong. You could call it evolution. Woke up feeling more than human. That line is about seeing myself. Instead of just looking at my reflection in the mirror, it's about seeing like this higher version of myself, like to my fullest potential and what I really could be, instead of just seeing like what it is I am. It's really exciting, the thought of seeing myself at my greatest potential. And that's kind of what that line is about, is just feeling like superhuman. Maybe it's my spirit, maybe it's my body, maybe it's these bitches always trying to copy, gassing me up to make a bitch cocky. Can't be a boss bitch unless a bitch bossy. Yeah, I used to have a really hard time accepting compliments, accepting when people had nice things to say to me or about me. And there was just this weird switch for me when I gained a lot of confidence, and then I realized they're not lying. Maybe bitches actually want to be like me. Boss bitch. Everyone wants to be a boss bitch. And that's such a good thing. Yet, we don't see being bossy or being just a bitch as a good thing. And I think that's kind of silly, because you got to be bossy to be a boss bitch. So why are we seeing bossy as a negative thing, especially when we're talking about women? For 2.0, me and then my friend Brad, we literally went downtown Phoenix. I brought a couple different outfits with me, and we just he was just doing some cool moving shots and stuff of me just vibing out, and made this amazing visualizer.
You could try to hold me down, but I just want all of the options, and I don't see it as a problem.
Next, we have Options, which in my opinion was probably the most, maybe one of my favorite songs on the EP. It's very sassy, this early 2000s R&B pop sort of vibe. When we were writing Options, I remember we were just kind of discussing, they're like, what do you want to write about? What have you been feeling in your life lately? And I was feeling a little crazy that day. And I said something like, sometimes I just want to whore around. And they were like, yeah. And then Options was born. Prior to this kind of POISONALITY awakening, what I knew and what was comfortable was always being in these long-term monogamous relationships. And I had never really given myself the chance to explore life and explore people. So I was at a point when I wrote the song and I was like, it's my time. I need to explore. I mean, the song doesn't even have to be taken necessarily sexually either. It can be about just embracing what life has to offer and not limiting yourself. Options is for the polyamorous people. It's for the bisexuals, the pansexuals. It's for anyone who feels limited, because we do not need to limit ourselves. We got options, baby.
It's the primal, just do it like they do it in the Bible. You know it's the key to your survival.
Third, we had Primal, which was the first single we put out. That one's very low key, a little it's very sexy, but it still kind of gives a nice little break from that very high energy first two. It's always the quiet ones, the keeping the private ones. I could give a fuck about your man, I could fight him once. That okay boy walking around with a giant one. And if we made a movie, I know it'd be a viral one. Ooh, I'm a little like blushing. Okay, this song is about a very specific type of man. Very understated. He is extremely low key. He doesn't feel the need to speak up about everything or have something to say about everything. And that demeanor is what makes him so attractive. Every girl knows somebody like this. And I know y'all know exactly who I'm talking about. Because he's kind of quiet, but then like, you get to know him, he's a little freaky. Yeah. It was that kind of person that inspired me to take this to this.
You know I love your specialty, 'cause I think I really like it like that.
When we as women talk about men in music, it's usually about their like wealth or their status, and you know those things are important, but I just wanted to give a little shout out, kind of reading between the lines and paying attention to their true demeanor is something that's a little underrated. I did a whole DIY like setup in my house. I bought one of those like backdrops from Amazon, and I bought $500 worth of plants, fake plants from IKEA, so I can make this like jungle-y background. And then I returned them all. And the lady at the checkout was like, oh, did you just... I was like, oh yeah, I just ended up not liking any of them. I utilized all my resources and it was free. Next we have I See You, which is huge spike in energy again, but it gives a little bit of a rock vibe. So I think it also kind of breaks it up a bit. Oh, you a producer? Really? 'Cause I never heard of you, sir. Say you're the next Ye, a legend like Future? Okay, got a sense of humor? With my expectations lower than the boots with the fur. So, there's this man that I met on a dating app one time in LA, and he was a producer. He was a producer. The first time we met, he had lots to tell me, though. He was doing lots of name dropping, telling me all the people he was producing for, you know, oh, I can connect you with this person and all this stuff. And I was like, okay, cool. And also used it as an excuse, like, oh, I'm in the studio. I can only come over at 2 a.m. every night. Okay. And at first I was like, yeah, no, that's so cool. That's totally fine. He's like, you're just so cool. Like, you just get it. You know, you're just such a cool girl. So I was like, yeah, for sure. After like 4 times of him being like, it's 3 a.m., let me come over. I was like, okay, this is not really like what I'm trying to do. So then things fizzled. All the albums that he was talking about working on started to come out. And I did not see this man's name on any of the credits, okay? He didn't do anything. Only 25 with the Prince Willie hairline. We could have played nice if you didn't try to lie. You could run, but you can't hide. So this is just one example of an I see you man, okay? Someone who just is all talk, and then the time comes and they have nothing. It's embarrassing. Men everywhere should be embarrassed. For I See You, we ended up doing this incredible photo shoot, and we got a fucking horse. That was so crazy. I rode the horse, and I'd only ridden a horse once before. I literally just like mentioned the idea of it being kind of like a cowgirl-y sort of theme, because the beginning of the song, it does that like ding strum, and it sounds a little country. And the next day he was like, oh, I know someone with a horse. I got the horse. And I was like, oh my God. So we had a whole photo shoot with a horse. Like, the creative team was just chef's kiss.
LSD taking hold of me. All of that love, sex, drugs, honey. Love, sex, drugs.
LSD is just full on chill drugs vibes. Love and sex and drugs, like when we were young, like our favorite song, you know, the one by the Killers. Life is a dream so free, Freddie can't fuck with me, 'cause I'm seeing angels in your eyes while I'm grounded, God is so divine. You and me, our minds intertwined so deep, we drowning in time. I need to give props to my co-writer, Sammy Hakim, because she came up with that line, life is a dream so free, Freddie can't fuck with me. And it's an homage to Freddy Krueger, who visits kids in their dreams. And this whole song is about this very deep level of human connection that is achieved in this instance through psychedelics. Also, this is a very special line in the song because it really allowed me to use the very deepest part of my chest voice. And that's not something that I usually do in a lot of my more pop music. So it was a really special opportunity to explore kind of my vocal range in this song. 2.0 is just is my favorite song on the project and probably my favorite song that I've ever put out. I feel like it's very representative of Poisonality and the sentiment behind the EP. And I have just never found myself ever doubting this song. And as an artist, you have so much music a lot of the times that you're sitting on, but they can't all be your favorites. They can't all be like 100% true to you as an artist. But this one I've truly never doubted. I have always loved it. And I've always felt like everything from the production, the melodies, the lyrics has been very true to me as a person. Everything kind of leading up to that song really felt like more of an experiment and just trying to find my sound. And now I feel like there's a song in my arsenal that can now be a reference to other songs that I write in the future. And it used to be writing something and then the producer would say, what are you feeling today? And then I would reference another song from another artist and try to emulate that. But I think 2.0 really gave me a song of my own that now I can reference back to. That's also a very emotional part of the journey as a songwriter and as an artist, is going through the motions of discovering your sound and discovering who you are as an artist. And I think 2.0 was a huge milestone for me as an artist because it just really solidified my confidence in the sound that I had. Putting out an EP independently is a full-time job. It's extremely exhausting, emotionally, physically, and in so many ways, and also so extremely rewarding. It takes a lot of sacrifice, and personally, I have been down for the sacrifice, and it has turned out to be one of the most beautiful experiences of my life so far. From the songwriting all the way to the marketing and the production and everything, all of those processes, everything starts and ends with me. And when you have a label or a big team, a lot of artists, it doesn't really all the way come back around to them. You know, like I have all the creative say in every part of this process. So I have a team, but at the end of the day, it really all comes back to me and it's all up to me whether or not the things that I do are successful, because I really have to set the tone for my team as well. And that's kind of the difference between an independent artist and someone who's with a label. So I have chosen to do this project independently and budget when there is none or very little. You know, you really have to get creative and everything becomes DIY. And I have grown to love that so much and really creating this like human connection with other creatives that are down and really have that drive to do fun projects. And so that has kind of been like the heart of releasing this independently, has just been collaborating with other independent artists. Being able to experiment and test, a lot of the sounds that I was trying and all that stuff, it was very rewarding to be able to experiment creatively, and not only in the music, but also in the marketing and stuff. I do all my own, PR, and I do all my own reach outs and stuff. So it was very interesting to go through the process of releasing 4 singles and seeing like back to back to back what was working, what wasn't, and then just learning so much. Like it's crazy how much I learned. I'm Chloe Tang, and my EP Poisonality is out now everywhere.